We are live.
And we're live, guys. Let us know in the chat if you can hear us, see us. Thumbs up, and then we'll get started. Excuse us, we're a little tardy today. Emergencies are happening, and Dick couldn't do it. So we're doing it anyway, but things happen. It's life.
Well, Slavie could do it, and I could do it. So this is the best next best thing.
Guys, give me like a thumbs up, and then we'll start.
Yeah, let us know if you guys can hear us, see us.
Okay, we got a thumbs up. Let's get into it. Well, Putin spent Christmas mass murdering Ukrainians. Hundreds of Russian drones launched at Kiev at dawn, aimed at sleeping families, at homes, at Ukraine's energy infrastructure. Ukraine is in the dark this holiday season, but it's in the darkness that light and hope shine brightest. Russia is cracking, it is certainly not winning, and you can see it in the way Putin spent 6 months blocking US sanctions by dragging Trump through fake negotiations. The same fake negotiations he used to stop the US from delivering tomahawks. And now, just 24 hours after storm shadows hit Russian refineries for the first time, he's faking ceasefire talks again. Meanwhile, Zelensky has turned the most painful question of this war, territorial concessions, into a joint challenge for Trump and Putin, a test of whether Trump actually wants to achieve peace. All of that is coming up in the show, so guys, get comfy. Don't forget to like the stream, and if you're new, please consider subscribing and drop your questions in the chat. We'll be answering the questions all throughout the stream. I'm Slavie, this is Johnny, and this is Ukraine Update / SlavaCast. Johnny, how are you doing this week? And by the way, Merry
Doing
Christmas,
great.
Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas. Yeah, this is like a post-Christmas stream. We did a pre-Christmas one. Always hopes, around this time, hopes for a miracle, hopes for something great. Of course, Russia used this time to just absolutely, make it miserable for Ukrainians. They sent a barrage of drones and missiles every day, and we've seen those heartbreaking, shots of, Ukrainian suffering, children dying, unfortunately. There was a heartbreaking story of that 4-year-old girl. I'm sure you've seen, but any life is sacred, and this is the time to unite, kind of to reflect and to see what we can do for Ukraine, or what we can do to help, because it's very scary, very devastating. It's cold, and you're being attacked like nobody's ever seen in history, and Ukrainians are enduring this. And let's show them some support, even like doing what we're doing with Slavie right now, just doing little likes, just showing up, making sure Ukrainians are not forgotten. That comes a long way right now.
Yeah. What's interesting is that what Russia is doing, Putin, is very weird because they're escalating heavily the attacks on Ukraine, on Ukrainian civilians, and yet Zelensky and Trump are supposed to meet tomorrow in Florida in Mar-a-Lago. So
Well,
it's not very smart to do
very
this.
typical of Putin, though.
It
Every
is,
time
yeah.
when there's some kind of international dealings going on, especially if Putin is involved. Let's say if Putin was present, they would step up their barrage of attacks, for sure. But even without him being present there, just because Zelensky is meeting with Trump, Putin is going to use that time to kind of pressure Zelensky on the backside of it. So Zelensky has to think about, oh my God, my country is being just brutally barraged right now. And that's it's been going on like that throughout the war and even before. So it's very
Yeah.
typical of what Russians are doing.
Yeah, but I mean, it makes Trump, the administration, look terrible.
Yeah, but yeah, true. But to me, they are exposed already. After what the Witkov's dealings with Russians have been, broadcasted by the Europeans to Wall Street Journal. After all that, you know, uh, how they already published that they made deals with Russia. They're just waiting for Russia for Ukraine to surrender. They're already buying like Lukoil parts, like criminal Trump families, just like making money off of this.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna be disillusioned yet again. I already know that nothing is gonna come off of Trump's administration right now. I hope just so more people can see what really is going on. Um, I don't think Zelensky came to seek some kind of peace deal. He's just playing this like a chess game of kind of juggling in between two evils so that they don't hurt Ukraine even more. um, I literally think that he's showing them, okay, we're willing to do peace. He even put the negotiations for referendum for land secessions from Ukraine, right? But all they have to do is Russia has to hold a 60-day ceasefire, right? And Ukraine will
Right.
vote on giving up their land. Of course, the idea is that Russia is not gonna hold a 60-day ceasefire, and Ukrainians know that, Europeans know that. Trump probably, I don't know, he doesn't care. I don't think if he wanted to know anything about this war, he would already know it. He just chooses not to know. Um, and this is like the juggling game that Zelensky is playing. He just wants Ukraine not to be hurt more than he doesn't want the Trump family to give excuse to further hurt Ukraine. And so he goes along with this. He goes for these peace talks. He puts these ideas on the table of Trump. Look, like we're willing to negotiate land secession, which is unthinkable. Whoever in history of the world negotiated land secession, right?
Yeah. Now, before we get into on the latest on these peace talks, um, to be honest, I stopped paying attention to them until I have to do these news briefs. But yeah, Zelensky, he at this point, he is just kind of playing along. Um, because the worst thing that could happen is that Ukraine symbolically can lose United States support, and that would be a huge win for Russia. Because at this point, United States isn't really helping, but
No,
symbolically, this is important. Zelensky knows, everybody knows that Putin will not stop the war, that these peace talks are useless, but he's trying to kind of entertain the Trump administration, make them feel like they're getting close and there's some kind of negotiations, but we're not getting anywhere. They're so useless. And Zelensky knows this, and he's just doing that to keep some kind of uh, support of United States still stands with Ukraine, even though the actual tangible support is not there. Um, but yeah, let's talk about the latest and what's happening with these peace talks. So this week, Ukraine unveiled full 20-point peace plan as US pushes long-term security guarantees. President Zelensky publicly outlined Ukraine's 20-point peace plan, the first time the full framework has been shown. At the same time, the US proposed a 15-year security guarantee package for Ukraine. Russia claims it has its own 20-point plan, but continues attacking Ukraine while negotiating is happening. Ukraine's plan is the first serious structured proposal backed by the US. It replaces the earlier 28-point draft that pushed Ukraine toward capitulation. The US wants a long term security architecture, NATO like but binding. Russia is negotiating tactically, not sincerely. Ukraine made its red lines public, limiting US room to for compromise. So this is kind of the first time that it's Ukraine and not Russia who is defining the terms of this peace and doing it very, very publicly. So that's one good thing about it. Uh, the in this peace plan, it there's some of the big points. It has recognition of Ukraine's sovereignty, withdrawal of Russian troops, strong US plus European security guarantees, peacetime Ukrainian army of 800,000, reconstruction roadmap, conditional referendum on Donbass after a 60-day ceasefire, no blanket amnesty for war crimes, nuclear safety and demilitarization of Zaporozhye nuclear power plant, border control returned to Ukraine, and long term economic integration with the West. So, yeah, bottom line is Ukraine is negotiating from a position of clarity. Russia is negotiating from a position of fear, I'd say. Johnny, do you have
Definitely.
anything to say about this? It's so boring to do at this point now
No,
to
no.
do
I
this
mean,
piece, but
it's boring for you. No, no. I think it's very important. Um, Well, I just want to say that, all of these peace negotiations is a game because Russia is not involved in any of this. Even
yeah,
the 28th peace plan that everybody was like up in arms, like, oh my God, like that's a capitulation of Ukraine. Russia, like you forgot to ask Russia, you forgot to ask Putin. They were not gonna stop the war even for the 28th peace plan. It's all a game between United States who are trying to push Ukraine to surrender, Europe who are trying to offer something to Russia. Russia is absent from all these peace negotiations. Um, and the only way to kind of push them towards it is for Ukraine to continue to do what they're doing, to push them further into economic collapse, which the strikes on nuclear, like not the nuclear, the oil, NPZ, oil processing plants, terminals for oil extraction, the shadow fleet, everything that Ukraine is doing. Ukraine is working tirelessly to bring the end of the war right now, and the peace, all the peace talks, everything, it's a game. It doesn't mean anything. You United States is using the peace talks to kind of go along with Russia and show, listen, Ukraine is not interested in peace, right? They tried to do that. So Ukraine is responding, listen, we are interested in peace. We're even gonna talk about our giving up our land, but first we have to hold a referendum. But in order to organize a referendum, we need 60-day ceasefire, which they know Russia is never going to do. So it's a catch 22. Ukraine is winning in this regard right now because they have Russia figured out, and it's up to the United States to weasel out of what's happening right now. It takes a lot of mental gymnastics to blame Ukraine for not wanting peace. So Zelensky is just making it harder for United States to play all this mental gymnastics right now.
yeah. I know that many Ukrainians in Ukraine don't follow this peace deal because they all know that it's not going anywhere. So they're just so fed up with it. Plus, well, they have insane um, mass drone attacks every day, but there's just nothing that is coming out of this. Yeah.
And
So the
also
meeting
remember,
between Trump and Zelensky is tomorrow. Tonight, he is in Canada meeting with Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, and Europe is on call, and we'll see what happens. This is the first meeting between Trump and Zelensky after that horrible White House meeting when Zelensky thought that we were finally getting the Tomahawks, and instead he got the worst Trump ever, and that's all because Putin the day before called Trump, and Putin got that kind of that hint to do that from Witkoff. So it was all a setup, and it happened because of Witkoff, who is leading these talks between Ukraine and and Russia separately.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I'm not waiting for anything out of this meeting. People who are still thinking like they're actually discussing peace talks, remember that peace talks are not possible without Russia. Russia is not on board with any of this. They're just happy that Zelensky is wasting his time. United States are still on board with Russia. They're not going to go along with anything. There's no, these peace talks are not real, right? It's not, Russia is not at the table. They're not discussing anything. They're just wasting time. For Ukraine, this is an opportunity to show that they want peace, that they're willing to talk about peace. Maybe to show the MAGA crowd that, listen, like, we came, we talk about peace, we we all, everything is on the table, like we need to prepare for the vote on the lands, just to show that we're willing, we want peace. But people who understand, they already understand that Ukraine wants peace more than anyone else. It's just, it's not through these peace talks that Russia is not present at. Yeah, it's a sham. What's happening is a sham. It's not a real thing. It's just a wasting of time on all sides. Did you hear what JD Vance said just on Christmas? He was doing a speech, and even though the United States is not helping Ukraine in any way right now, except for selling weapons to Europe at a profit, um, profiteering from war, so that Europe can give those weapons to Ukraine. So he said, uh, and it's a Christmas speech. So he says, in our Bible it says, "Honor your father and mother," instead of sending their money to Ukraine. You know, like, let's be clear. Trump's administration did not send one penny to Ukraine. There was $4 billion left over of weapons from Biden's administrations, left over, and it's been voted by Congress, and Trump was dangling it like a carrot in front of Ukraine, asking them to talk to Russia, to secede territory, to do all of that, and all of that is stopped as well. So United States is not helping Ukraine in any way. The only way United States is doing right now is helping Ukraine surrender. United States is not sending money. It's not sending weapons. The only thing it's doing is it's selling weapons at a 10% markup to Europe. To its, it used to be our closest ally. We would just give them weapons before, but now we're selling it to them. Europe is spending its own money, boosting our economy. We're profiteering from this, and this JD Vance has the audacity to say something like this to people that are suffering from brutal attacks every day. Um, it's a despicable behavior from this vice president.
He's the worst, JT Vance, and right now he's doing all these things like not press tours, but like he's training with the army, or it's he's gonna run for president, so he's doing all these
Oh my God!
appearances.
God help us. Who
Yes,
said?
he just was saying that he's targeting the really extremely like dumb MAGA because there's a lot of Republicans who there's more Republicans supporting Ukraine than there was in 2022. But now I
Good.
guess the ones that are left over, that's what he was trying to get their votes because somebody needs to hate on Ukraine. But many people understood, many Americans understood, including Republicans who have more than two brain cells, that Russia is Russia and Russia is United States adversary. It will
Every
always
day
be like
Russia
that.
is
It will never
discussing
change.
on their TV how they're going to destroy United States. They're laughing
Well, they're
at what
attacking
Trump is doing.
actively. They're attacking United States actively. United States energy infrastructure, cyber attacks, and this is United States.
Yep, we're completely
Different like
exposed.
insurance data. I mean, Amazon, and they've been doing it for years, and now it's starting to come
Medical.
out that like all these investigations and the United States has been doing, or sorry, Russia has been doing this, and now it's only escalating. So, is Russia really United States friend? No, they will never be.
God, no. They're working day and night to destroy us. They
Uh,
said they will not rest until United States is still standing. Like what Trump is doing, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna focus on this part of the world. I'm not gonna interfere where Russia and China is, which is why would you even do that? But okay, but that's not good enough for Russia and China. He thinks like we just can hide away on our part of the world. That's not going to happen. We live in a globalized economy. They don't need to send their tanks, their troops, their airplanes, their bombs. They're going to attack us in what they're doing already, attack us in cyberspace, in everywhere they can, energy infrastructure, grid, our supply chains that are going to be controlled by Russia and China. Everybody around the world where they get a hold of all these countries where we used to have USAID. Russia quickly came up with their new agency called Rus AID. Did you hear that?
yeah.
That's amazing. Like we, being the richest country in the world, we could not have enough money to run USAID, our soft power. But Russia, who doesn't have money to pay their elderly, to feed the elderly, are literally eating out of trash cans. They have maps, internet maps of trash cans where they put food, so these people can go there and look for food in trash like raccoons. That's Russia, but they do have money for their version of USAID, which they created. China has the same thing. Everywhere where we used to have soft power before Elon Musk and Trump destroyed it, now China and Russia, they already put their own agents in there. They're already indoctrinating them to hate United States, to deny buying any of our products. Basically, it's going to have long-term effects where we're going to suffer because of this. They're trying to destroy dollar as an international currency. They're going to do it because the only way the dollar stays current is because of our global influence, and we're already giving up on that. Trump is giving up on our global influence. So why would you use a dollar? Putin already proposed to use a new currency for BRICS, which is the Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and China, which is more than half of the world, way more than half of the world population. They're going to create a new currency. Dollar is going to be the thing of the past. You're going to go to your grocery store. You're going to spend the $300 for a loaf of bread pretty soon, and you're going to think like, what happened? You know, they don't have to attack us over here. They're just going to destroy us by other means. They already started, and they're not going to rest.
No. Well, let's talk about some really cool shit that happened this week. So, Ukrainian intelligence has eliminated multiple Russian generals in in a year of kind of deep strike operations. So throughout 2025, Ukraine's intelligence services, the SBU and HUR, carried out a series of high precision operations targeting senior Russian military leadership responsible responsible for planning, directing, and sustaining the invasion. Three high ranking generals were eliminated. Lieutenant General Vanil Sarbarev killed on December 22nd in southern Moscow when an explosive device detonated under his Kia Sorento. Sarbarev oversaw operational training for the Russian general staff and previously served in Chechnya and Syria. Very bad guy. Major General Mikhail Gutkov killed on July 2nd in Kursk by Ukrainian missile strike while commanding the 155th Naval Infantry Brigade. Ukraine accused him of war crimes in the Kiev suburbs, including civilian killings and prisoners of war executions. Lieutenant General Yaroslav Moskalik assassinated on April 25th in Balashkiha, near Moscow, by a car bomb. He served as a deputy head of a general staff's main operational directorate. A Russian perpetrator later admitted ties to Ukrainian security services. Also, exactly a year ago, and I remember doing a video on this. It was a Christmas video. Remember the general that got blown up by a scooter? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was pretty epic. But yeah, so these operations mark one of the most aggressive and successful intelligence campaigns Ukraine has conducted since the start of the full scale invasion. The interesting part about this, especially on the latest Moscow, where the general was in Moscow, Ukraine is getting rid of Russian generals with Russian hands, which is pretty freaking awesome.
Russians will do anything for money. That's their excuse to go to war, to die and kill Ukrainians. Uh, that's their excuse for anything. So Ukrainians are exploding it right now. You send $500 to some poor guy in Moscow, and he's gonna go and blow up a Russian general. A
Well,
lot of
actually, Ukraine has had these Russians in Russia for and organizing them because even for oil refinery attacks, there needs to be someone like with the guiding with the drones, with the plans and everything. So there's quite a I don't want to say army, but probably a legion of Russians in Russia doing these sabotage attacks. Like it's not just like a drone flies um into oil refinery. They no there it's a whole operation, very strategic, but somebody needs to be on foot on land, give the plans, um see the times where to hit it. So it's all information, and Ukrainian intelligence has gotten to be so brilliant. I mean remember spiderweb.
I
It's
will
just so
remember
brilliant.
spiderweb till the day I die.
Yeah.
I will
And
remember
I
that. That was
actually think
epic.
in 2026 we're gonna see a lot more of these kind of attacks. I think, and it's gonna go a lot faster and bigger. And I mean, because Ukraine needs to keep doing them. That this is how Russia will fall, is by Ukraine doing these Ukrainian sanctions, by hitting military targets, by hitting the shadow fleet, by sabotaging all of supply lines to the front, Russian supply lines. um I mean, all of it. And Ukraine is so good and so strategic. I mean, we don't even know most of it of how they do it. We'll probably won't know until after the war. They'll probably make so many movies about this because it's brilliant, and we just know like a tiny little fraction of it, and it's already like, whoa, very cool.
Exactly. Like, remember when Zelensky was sitting in the White House and he was berated by J.D. Vance and Trump, and they were saying, "You have no cards. You've got no cards." Zelensky was sitting quietly on the biggest and most exciting military operation of human history, and he kept it secret from United States allies, because that's the only way to make sure this operation is going to be successful. Because if we tell anything to United States officials these days, Russia is going to know about it in 15 minutes. They have a direct channel, which is embarrassing for us as a United States, but we're officially conquered. The White House is
Say
conquered
the
by
Trump
Russia.
administration or Washington, because the Americans and our American leadership are two different things.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I mean, I'm looking for silver lining in all of this. This is very, very bad. I'm very worried. Um, but I just want to say on this, the Russian generals dying, it's a uniquely Russian problem. Ukrainian generals are not dying at all, and it's very particular issue because Ukrainian generals, they're war generals, they're very close to the front lines, they're hands-on generals. Russian generals are in the back, they are in a in bunkers, they're well protected, and we've seen 13 of them died already. um, and this last one with the car bomb, that's just like a cherry on top right before Christmas. Um, but each one of them, that's a devastating blow to Russian confidence. And generals are very hard to replace. For example, Sarvarov, he was responsible for the training of other officers of Russian army. He was preparing them for different world conflicts. He has tremendous experience in actual combat. He was in Chechnya, he was in Syria, he was in Donbass from the start. He intimately knows how to fight this war. Any kind of successes that Russia has had in Ukraine, he had his hand into this. And now he's not here with us anymore. He's at a Cubs concert. So it's sorry for the joke.
This is huge also psychologically, because Ukraine is sending a message that no matter where you are, even in Moscow, even maybe around the world, Ukraine will find you. It'd be this month or in 10 years. Everyone will pay who was part of the invasion.
And 2 days later, after they killed Sarvarov, they killed two more guys implicated in torturing Ukrainians. They're not generals, but they're high Russian officials, also officers. They gave orders, and also they did the torture themselves. Now they're safely back in Moscow. They're far away from the war. Moscow is the most protected Russian city, even at the expense of exposing some other important cities in Russia. Moscow is heavily protected, but they cannot hide even there, and that's a good message that Ukraine is keep sending. If you are Russian who's been fighting this unjust war, torturing Ukrainians, doing the war crimes, you will pay for that. You're not going to go unpunished.
Yep. Also, the FSB is at war with these Russian generals, the Russian military. So that's a very interesting story to follow.
That's
Uh,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah. What's more beautiful and more poetic than Russians taking out Russians?
Uh, well, yeah. It's the next best thing after Ukrainians taking out Russians.
Well, at the
Um,
same time, like, I mean, it's up to Ukrainians in Ukraine to get their justice, but I think the best, perhaps, I mean, I can't say would be the best kind of justice, but it would be pretty good to see Putin sweat in The Hague rather than die instantly. Like, I want to see him suffer, you know?
Definitely agree. For this guy, that would be a very good conclusion. Um,
That's like
and
true
also,
justice. But 1 second before we
yeah,
get into while we're on topic, Zelensky this week did say that he wants he just I think every Ukrainian can't wait for Putin to die or perish. And
Yeah, I heard that. That was beautiful.
yeah, very well said, because it's true. And then I said, well, it's actually the whole civilized world that's wishing for it this year. So yeah.
For Ukraine, that's definitely a clear avenue for one of the conditions for victory. If Putin dies tomorrow, this war will probably conclude tomorrow. Of course, Putin is very invested in this war. He cannot stop the war because he's going to die. If Putin stops this war, it's going to be the end of Putin. But if he dies of whatever causes, whoever comes after Putin, Russia is suffering from sanctions, from everything burning because of Ukrainian actions. So it's very easy for whoever comes after Putin. If you want to improve conditions for the average Russian, you just say, okay, we're going to stop the war, and everything is going to improve in Russia. So that's going to be a clear path to victory for Ukraine if just to wait it out till the regime change in Russia.
Mhm. By the way, Ukraine, they wanted to take out Putin, and they asked United States if they could do it. Of course, the United States like, no, don't do it. But they could have done it. I
Yeah,
believe they can still do it. Like, it's not like Ukraine can't get him. They can. They're just, United States is protecting Putin. But
yeah, this
with
is
time,
yeah, it's not
with
gonna
time.
happen that way. I don't think United States is gonna do. I mean, they have the capabilities, but uh, a lot has to happen for that to happen, and not with Trump in office. Definitely,
Yeah,
he's the
exactly.
biggest.
No, but there was a moment I remember doing this. It was really underreported where yeah, Ukrainian they had to go to, Pentagon and ask if they could take out Putin. I don't know. I guess United States said no or got talked Ukraine out of it. And but Ukraine can do it. That's the thing. They can do it. There's just no point perhaps to doing it now, but
I think if Ukraine could do it, they would do it. Also, I know for
no, but
sure
they can.
that
I'm telling you, they can. They went to Washington. They're like, to get permission, can we do it? They had like, they can do it actually very easily. Like, it's not like, oh, if they can do it, they
I
can.
know I
But
know for
people
a
are saying
fact
like,
that
you can't.
I know for a fact that Russia is trying desperately to kill Zelensky, and they just cannot do it. And our capabilities about similar, Ukraine and Russia right now. I know United States capability are more advanced than Russia's or Ukraine's. Um, I don't know what they can or cannot do for sure, but I know that Russia is trying actively to do whatever they can to destroy Zelensky. And I know Ukraine has the same kind of plans in the works as well. Uh, I don't think Ukraine can do it, but I don't know everything. If
I'm
they can do
telling
it,
you, they
then
can. Like, it was a story. Like, never even if they can.
I just don't know. Like, why wouldn't they do it if they can do it? Like the
Well,
war
there's
would
a lot of
end.
things that it would ruin relations with the United States, the world, because and then it would show that we're exactly like Russians by taking
Yeah,
them
but
out,
our
you know.
people would stop dying. It's war. I
But
mean,
see,
this
that's the
is.
thing. No, no, no. People wouldn't stop dying. The war wouldn't really stop. You know,
I don't know.
Russians want this war. The elites would probably
No,
continue
that's
this war.
true.
Like,
That's true.
all these
Russians won
generals,
this
like,
war. Russians
Russia
won
needs
this
to
war.
fall along with Putin down the toilet, like all of it together. It's just if Putin alone fall, maybe there will be chaos, but chaos on front lines, perhaps. I mean, it's already happening, but I mean, I did a story on just how many Russians are involved, and it's millions of them that are making this war happen to keep this war machine going. So it's not just Putin. There's millions on millions of them.
No,
Wish I
that's
had it.
true. It's not Putin's war. Um, Anybody who
And they
says it's a
probably
Putin's
have
war, they're
someone else,
lying.
like a successor in place, uh, to take over Putin if that would happen.
No, of course, and I mean, same would happen in Ukraine. Ukraine has a chain of command, like the next person will take over, um, but still, Russians are trying to kill him. Um, did you hear about Kupiansk? Kupiansk, basically, Russians fully admitted that it's under Ukrainian control right now. There's like maybe 100 soldiers still hiding in the basements without food, without sustenance. But the Russian mill bloggers already published that Kupiansk is Ukrainian. So that's another humiliation that Russia has suffered this week.
Yeah, there's a lot of humiliations, and it's coming at a very, very good time. Um, Territory wise, Ukraine is getting territory back. Um, so there's gains.
Yeah, that's
Huge
incredible.
Russian losses. This past week, there was a day that reached the highest losses ever in a day, which was 2,000.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Um,
Yeah, that's a whew.
it's
And by the way,
at this
people, yeah.
speed, it's just this war is not sustainable. It's not for Russia. That's why I think
Also,
it will end
the
in 2026 with the way that it's
the
going.
the way Russians are dying, the way this war is going, Ukrainians are defending. So anytime when Russians are being killed, it's not because of Ukrainians are like doing something. Russians are keep running at the Ukrainian positions, and Ukrainians are retaliating with drones, with artillery, with whatever they have. Every time when we see a spike in Russian losses, that means that they're actively trying to advance. So, for whatever reason, this week Russians were really trying hard to advance on Ukrainian positions. And the more they advance, the more they're being killed. So that's why we're seeing these crazy numbers of 2,000. That's crazy to me. That's never happened before.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about these ground gains. The Ukrainian forces pushed Russian troops back in several key areas, uh, most notably around Kupiansk, as Johnny said, where President Zelensky visited the frontline positions and confirmed Ukrainian advances. And then across Donetsk, Liman, Konstantinivka, and the southern axis. Ukrainian brigades repelled dozens of Russian assaults and regained tactical positions that strengthened defensive lines. Ukraine is taking land back even during Russia's heaviest winter push. Gains around Kupiansk contradict Russian propaganda about encirclement, and Ukrainian brigades are stabilizing critical sectors under intense pressure. Russia is losing manpower at unsustainable rates, and these advances improve Ukraine's negotiating position. Yeah, Ukraine is proving it can still win ground, not just hold it. And even at this is probably the hardest winter, the hardest season of the war is winter. And Ukraine is still able to get the ground back. So that's incredible, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, we always worry when it's winter time because we know Russia will try to do whatever they can to make it miserable for Ukrainians. They also attack any kind of civilian infrastructure to kind of make Ukrainians despair. They hit like apartment buildings, energy grids, so Ukrainians don't have power, heat, any kind of water, any like thing that keeps you going, right? And so Russia is preparing for winter because they know this is when they can hit Ukraine the hardest in their mind. And of course, Ukraine has also been preparing, and we can see that they're doing beautifully. And it's good to see that we have all these good things to report. because we didn't have that before. Before we would say, "Oh, look, Russia is being a terrorist. Russia is killing us. Russia is doing this." They're still doing it, but now Ukraine learned how to hit back, and it's good to see. It's good to report on this good news that Ukraine is doing.
Yeah. Also, Ukraine launched a coordinated series of deep strike operations using Storm Shadow missiles and long range drones this week, which is when, right after that happened, Putin started uh, teasing the ceasefire talks again. He's like, no, no, let's talk ceasefire. They're like, Russia's so afraid of these long range missiles.
Flamingo.
Yeah.
I learned yesterday a group of flamingos is called a flamboyance. I'm looking forward to that.
Wow, that's oh, I like that. I had no idea.
Russians are afraid of that. They're very
Yeah.
homophobic to begin with.
Yeah. Also, Ukraine dismantles the Russian air defenses in Crimea.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so that was amazing to see. Ukrainian drone units struck a Russian Nebo radar, a military
Mhm.
boat, and multiple bases in Donetsk Oblast, including a command post and deployment sites. I
Good
mean,
job.
yeah, this is all. Crimea is supposed to be Russia's fortress, right? But Ukraine has
Yeah,
been.
this is like the showcase of Russia. Crimea was captured, and Russia reinforced it greatly to show, look, this is Russia now. You cannot touch it. You cannot do anything. And in a way, it's true, but at the same time, Crimea is a sitting duck for Ukrainian drone strikes, Ukrainian missile strikes.
It's fine. In
Russia
my
has
notes, I put Ukraine is turning it into a graveyard for Russian hardware.
exactly, but Russia has to keep reinforcing. So Ukraine turned it into like a pressure point. Anytime Ukraine is destroying any kind of anti-air thing, which Crimea needs desperately, they have to reinforce that, which means they have to take it out from another part of the battlefront, making other positions on the battlefront weaker. Russia has limited supplies of these anti-air defenses. They're very valuable, very expensive, and they're forced to keep resupplying Crimea, and they don't have any new ones. So, because Ukraine has got such a good hold on destroying everything within Crimea, because everything within Crimea is a fair game. Ukraine can hit any point of Crimea, and Russia cannot do anything about it.
Yeah, it's very true. Um, this is an interesting story. Ukrainian border drones kill 9 Russian infiltrators crossing an icy river. Uh, the
Mm,
the border drone units tracked and eliminated 9 Russian soldiers attempting to cross an icy river into Kharkiv Oblast under in the dark at night. Um, yeah, this shows Ukraine growing nighttime drone dominance and paroling drones. Um, Russia is attempting small unit infiltration to test Ukraine's defenses, and Ukrainian surveillance is catching them before they reach villages. Now, I do believe that these are the AI drones. And yeah, this is a part of Russia's winter pressure campaign of the Northeast. And yeah, this wasn't a battle, it was a hunt, it was a drone hunt. And yeah, Ukraine's drone overwatch is turning infiltration into suicide mission for Russians now.
yeah,
And
I heard about this, and I was thinking, in my head, have you seen those videos? How these Russians they don't really want to go on those raids, and Russian like commanders they're like beating them, they're berating them, they're like threatening them like with like sodomy and just like taking them money away, and they pushing these Russians into this icy river. These Russians are
yeah,
miserable. They fly to their death and Ukrainians just kill them. That's war.
And that's how we know that Russia can't win this, because Russians, what the hell are they fighting for? Ukraine is fighting for their home, for their land, against
And did
people who
you
don't even know what they're fighting, people who just get paid to kill, go on a suicide mission.
And did you hear this guy, the interview with this guy who got captured by Ukrainians, and he just stayed? He said, "I want to leave." We can actually show a little bit of that video. Basically,
Like,
the
the
story
worst
goes,
thing that can happen to Russians when they're in captivity is that they won't get meat in their borscht.
"Oh yeah." They were complaining. They come back to Russia when they're exchanged, and they're like, "How did they treat you in Ukraine?" They're like, "I didn't even have meat in my borscht sometimes," like that's. And then you see Ukrainians POW returning, and they're like meat and bone, like bones and
It's
skin,
brutal,
like
brutal.
they look like from Nazi like concentration camps. Their body parts missing, they're cut, like the things, they're like it's just I cannot even describe some of the things that are happening to them. And the Russians are complaining that there's not enough meat in the borscht that they're being served. Do you think we should play that video of that Russian who got captured? I couldn't find
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah. But play it, because I need to. Apparently, I have
I
other
couldn't
streams
find
going on.
like the translation, but we can just translate it because me and Slavie we know this language here.
Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's
So
showing I'm only live on here. All other channels are not live, so I don't know.
Взяли в полон російського
so
солдата
the
Данила
story is
Сичова із
there's this guy.
242-го Волгоградського
He
мотострілецького
got
полку.
captured. There were
Раніше він
two
служив у
Ukrainian
Вірменії, потрапив під суд. Щоб уникнути
Wait,
вироку,
hold on,
soldiers
Johnny,
holding.
pause it, because you're
штурмував.
talking over it.
I mean, the video is in Ukrainian. We won't be able to hear it. I'll just explain it really quick. So they showed the map of where it happened. It happened around Rusin Yar, near Kostyantynivka, and he got captured by these two Ukrainian badass soldiers. They were holding their position for 130 days before rotating, and they could not leave their position. They captured this guy, and they just let him live there. He lived there for 60 plus days, almost 2.5 months. And eventually, when they were rotated, instead of two people, there are three people coming, and the third guy is this Russian. So this is the interview with this guy. And his name is Danila Sadyuk, Sadik or something like that. And he said, like, he talks about like his motivation, like what he was doing. He was helping them. Like he would hand them grenades when they needed, like, because Russians would attack their positions. And he said, well, these guys would kill the Russians because that's their mission, to repel Russian attacks. They would kill my former comrades. And they asked him, like, what would you do? He said, I would help them. I would hand them like machine guns. I would hand them grenades. I would set up the environment. I would dig the trench. Like he was helping. He was there. Even though being a POW, and they ask, why did you do this? He says, because I wanted to live. If Russians are capturing us, they're not going to ask questions. They're just going to execute everyone, because a lot of these Russian soldiers, they have orders not to take prisoners. So they just execute whoever they see on site. So his best chance to survive was to kind of help Ukrainians right now. And that's what he did. And right now he doesn't want, he can never go back to Russia, of course, but he doesn't want to. He wants to stay in Ukraine. He wants to fight. And he already proved that he's a good
нашу
fighter.
позицію в Русиному Ярі.
Unfortunately, I
Марно.
couldn't find like
І
any
ось
kind of
Александрович,
translation or anything like that. This is the guy.
31.05.2002 года рождения. Я служу
Like you can see, he survived
в
60
Республике
plus
Армения
days.
в
So
софтровой
Danilo
военной базе.
Sychov, they gave him
Был
Ukrainian name.
командиром батареи.
Pause the video because it's hard to listen to you and the video going. So one at a time.
Oh, okay, no worries. Yeah, I mean, maybe I should just stop the video because it's all in Ukrainian. So, but yeah, you get the gist of what was happening. I think that's a beautiful story as well. We always talk about like these stories that maybe they'll make a movie out of it someday. Like this is definitely a unique wartime story that I've never heard before.
Yep. Well, let's move on so we can get through all the news because we still have a lot. Uh, there was Belarus balloons that disrupted 51,000 passengers in suspected hybrid attack. Lithuania reported that Belarusian balloons drifted into EU airspace, disrupting flights for the 51,000 passenger and costing Lithuania 800,000 euros in delays. Excuse me, and rerouting. The officials say that this may be a delivered hybrid attack. This, not smuggling, because inside these balloons there was like cigarettes. Um, but yeah, Belarus is increasingly used as Russia's hybrid warfare platform. The balloons forced airports to stop operations for safety, and EU sees this as destabilization, not an accident, and comes as Russia escalates pressure on Ukraine and Europe at the same time. Hybrid warfare is cheap, deniable, and disruptive. And this is exactly the kind of tactic Russia and Belarus use to test EU response times. So that's exactly what Russia was doing to seek to test NATO countries how fast they respond to these kind of attacks. And they've been, I mean, we've been talking about this for months now, um, since Russia escalated its attacks on NATO with the drones, with the jets, with the underwater cables. All these are sabotage attacks, and these are tests of how fast can NATO respond and how will NATO respond. Did NATO um, impress Russia and respond fast? No, NATO failed because they couldn't even take out. They were racing over Poland. They were racing after two drones. It took them like 5 hours to take that down. They had to get Ukraine to shoot them down.
Yeah, Ukraine shot
NATO
like
needs
13
Ukraine
of
at
them
this
or something.
point, and I keep saying that NATO needs Ukraine at this point because NATO has no idea how to fight. Also, Russia knows this really well that NATO, to even respond or to shoot back, NATO countries need to go through like thousands of kind of red tape and go through. I mean, that's how kind of democracy works. But there's a lot of forms, and you have to like. It takes time. It takes time, and that's why. And Russia knows this, and it's timing. All right. So if we do this, you're gonna take 3 days to respond with a speech or what, however else. Only fast, quick responses prove Russia wrong, and they'll stop fucking with you.
Yeah,
Ukraine
this
knows this,
is
and Baltic country knows this. Maybe Poland knows this, but the rest,
we
they're just sleeping, fucking around. Fafo.
we talked about this in relation that Russia doesn't need to like have boots on the ground to attack Europe. They're gonna do these attacks. They're very cheap, very effective, disruptive, very expensive for Europe. Like how much did they say? $800,000 it cost.
Yeah,
Like sending some
to
balloons.
Russia, it costs nothing. It's very cheap. They love doing this kind of shit. They know how to do it really well. But for Europe, it costs, I mean, not only money, but I mean, it was this summer, it was in Spain where Russians, most likely, uh, took out like all of the subway system for many,
Yeah,
many hours. They just sabotage all kinds of operations, no matter where it is, like insurance, like through data, through cyber attacks. They're constantly doing this shit.
they're doing this in the United States as well through
Yeah,
cyber
yeah, yeah.
attacks.
Mm-hmm.
It's costing us money. So this is the money that JD Vance said we're not sending to Ukraine. Okay, don't send money to Ukraine. You're gonna spend it on Russian attacks, and it's gonna be way more expensive because they're gonna destroy this whole country if they get to it.
So in just from 2024 to 2025, there were 145 documented incidents and proven that it was Russia's hybrid campaign.
Mhm.
Documented. We're not talking about the ones that we're not sure and the investigation is unclear. But yeah, and now Russia is doing, or Belarusian, these balloons. Um, kind of, I guess it's kind of serves as a like a proxy probe to arson. With these balloons that has cigarettes inside of them. It's, I mean, only Russia would think of such weird shit sabotage to do.
I know it's, but it did a disruption of almost a million euros for European countries, like in one night.
Yeah,
Like
that
the
was
the
just one attack of yeah, we're not even like talking about anything else. But the thing is, NATO was created to deter Russia. This is why it's so insane. Like it's NATO's destiny to fight Russia, and they can't even do that.
Well, at least I see the silver lining here because they immediately called it what it is, instead of like trying to, oh, what was it, what's happening, was it a mistake. They kind of saw that this is like a coordinated Russian attack. Even that no action was taken, I think that's a step in the right direction, that they kind of spoke about it in the correct language. Because before, remember, like when what was it, like the first strikes, drone strikes on Poland, they were like, oh, maybe they made a mistake, maybe they weren't trying to hit us, maybe it was uh, like destined for
Russia
some
doesn't
other
care
area.
if Europe is saying, oh, it's Russia or somebody else. We don't know. What Russia is doing is testing their response time. So Russia decides to attack. Russia's like, yeah, but they're gonna take about a week to see if it was us. Do they care? No.
No,
Like it needs to be quick, and there needs to be a response. A speech is not gonna do anything. Only action is going to do something. Although I will give to
exactly.
EU is did start fighting Russian information warfare. They are fighting back, and they're fighting back. They're fighting even with United States over it because United States really wants the propaganda to be in Europe, and it's all just one big ploy. So I mean, Europe, keep going, please keep going because we're counting on you and keep helping Ukraine.
One of the ways how Russia is attacking Europe informationally is through X, through Elon Musk's X platform. So Europe has this agency in place called DSA. I'm not sure exactly what it means, maybe like Digital Security Agency or something. And I looked into that. They have like very clear guidelines for X. Like it has to be like if you have some kind of paid content, you have to be able to see who paid for it. Like if you're watching Chinese Communist Party paid advertisement, you should be able to see that Chinese Communist Party paid for that. If Russian government paid for something, you should be able to see that. So there's no transparency on X platform. They also another thing that they said that they don't like is the blue check marks. The Elon Musk said that's like for verification. They're actually not being verified. It's just the way to get paid. So you pay to get your account to have a blue check mark, but the X does not verify your identity. So let's
Yeah,
say
they don't need to
China.
show your. I've had verification. It's like the easiest thing to get uh verified. And you just pay basically. That's it. Mm,
Yeah,
that's how
that's
Russia
exactly
gets
what
all
they're
of the
saying.
bots and
So it's
trolls.
misleading. You can just have a ton of bots with blue check marks, and people are gonna think, oh, it's a verified user, but it's just gonna be like a Chinese or Russian bot. Um, so they were pushing X for all this transparency. We know he tried to do it with his geolocation tags, but that backfired bigly because all of the mega accounts turned out to be Russian. And he had to close it off, right? He reverted that practice. I'm not on X, I don't know what he's doing, but I heard that he started doing that geolocation, and it turned out all of the mega accounts are where Russia is operating from, like Malta, Sudan, because of course the X is banned in Russia. Facebook is banned in Russia. TikTok is no, not TikTok, Roblox, like all of these platforms that United States is complaining that Europe is censoring, they're all blocked within Russia. But they never, the JD Vance and Trump, they never say that.
Yeah.
They just
I just
complain
want
that,
to give a huge shout out. We have a guest, Starsky is in the chat. Thank you so much for coming in. So you're a very busy man. I do watch your live streams, Starsky in the morning, very early morning for me, but very cool. I definitely get a lot of my news from you. So keep it up. And we miss you on Ukraine Updates. Hope you come visit us again.
yeah,
So
I'm also watching Starsky in my free time. Lots of good content. If you guys have not seen it, you should go and give it a view and a listen. It's really cool.
what's it? Oh, Just Facts. Love the show.
Yeah. So
Okay, I do have a couple of super chats. We have a super chat from SSW Custom asking, can we learn about Malanka and New Year's in Ukraine? He's been asking me. He's a moderator here on the channel, and he's been asking me all day today to if we can learn
let's
about
dive
it.
into this.
Yeah, we should. Uh, after we get through the news. Also, oh, Secular Sakai is here. Wow, in super chat. Thank you so much. Um, I wish you guys could join us live on camera, but yeah, this was a very last minute stream. So next time. All right. Johnny, how much more news do you have?
Me personally, I mean, probably as much as you. I'm just following your lead over here. Do you have more news to get to,
Well,
or do you want me
since
to get to some?
yeah, I'll do one more because this is
There's one I
something
really wanted to
interesting.
get to,
This is
if we
something
have
very
time.
interesting because it has to do with Elon Musk. And so Russia is developing a new anti-satellite weapon to target Elon Musk's Starlink. Two NATO nation
Beautiful.
intelligence services suspect Russia is developing a new anti satellite weapon to target Elon Musk's Starlink constellation with destructive orbiting clouds of sorry, shrapnel, with the aim of reigning in Western space superiority that has helped Ukraine on the battlefield. Intelligence findings, seen as the Associated Press say the so called zone effect weapon would seek to flood Starlink orbits with hundreds and thousands of high density pellets, potentially disabling multiple satellites at once, but also risking catastrophic collateral damage to other orbiting systems. So, analysts who haven't seen the findings say they doubt such a weapon could work without causing uncontrollable chaos in space for companies and countries, including Russia and its ally, China, and that rely on thousands of orbiting satellites for communication, defense, and other vital needs. So I thought this was interesting news. I haven't. This was in Associated Press as well. So what do you think of this?
I want to respond with a I forgot who said this, but we should all repeat it every stream. Russia does not forgive attempts to love it. You try to make friends with Russia, you're trying to be cool with Russia, you try to be Russian friends, you will pay for this. Elon Musk was trying to be very friendly. His platform is completely overrun with Russians, and they are gonna make him pay for this. Unfortunately, we're gonna suffer as the result. Elon Musk is a billionaire. He's not gonna go broke or poor, but he's exposing himself and us to these Russian attacks and further invasions. And this is just another reminder that you cannot be friends with Russia. Russia is brutal, brazen. They don't care about you. They hate you.
Well,
If you are
especially
an
Elon
American,
Musk, because Elon Musk, he fucked up Russia's shit. I hold a grudge with
they hate
electric
Elon
cars
Musk.
because they're a gas station, and Elon Musk fucked up their shit. The only thing is Elon Musk's like Russia because Russia lets him like they have no regulations, so he can do his rocket shit, fuck around over there, and they've let him a couple of times, but Russia is not gonna let Elon Musk win. You kidding me?
No way. I mean, this is a very logical conclusion to Elon Musk's friendship with Russia. If they get their chance, of course, Russians, uh, anything they try to do, they mess up. I'm sure they cannot get this weapon off the ground. It's probably going to explode somewhere in Voronezh, and some poor Russians are going to have debris falling on their heads. But if they succeed and they destroy all these satellites which they're trying to destroy, they might partially succeed. I'm just going to say, we told you so. We
It
said
could
it
be part
time
of
and time again.
their information kind of warfare. So we don't know how close they are, how real this is, but this is definitely part of a information campaign. And what's interesting about this is against Elon Musk. So they're not a unit as much as we think they are. Although Starlink has been found in Russian Shahed drones and other things. So and it's happening because Elon Musk is letting Russians kill Ukrainians. Elon Musk is partially responsible for Russian genocide on Ukraine.
Elon Musk is a bad guy. He, as far as everything that he has, with like free and democratic United States, he cannot get any more. The only way that um, Elon Musk can get ahead in life and get even more things is if the current world order is destroyed. If United States is destroyed, it's becoming a dictatorship, then Elon Musk can get a lot more things. But at this point, he's at the top. He has nothing to live for, nothing to strive for. He only amasses more and more money, which he's never going to be able to spend. The money does not excite him anymore. He spoke publicly that he's envious of Vladimir Putin because, besides being as rich as Elon Musk, probably, Putin also has people. Putin has money, not money, but like army. And Elon Musk was kind of enviously talking about Putin, like Putin is more powerful than me because he has people, he has army, he has all these things which I cannot have. And I think Elon Musk doesn't care if this country burns to the ground because he stands to gain from this. He doesn't stand to gain if we get like elect Kamala Harris, like if we elect a good president, if we have good court system, good balance of powers, free elections. Elon Musk has no use for that. It's not good for him. But if we lose our democracy, if we get into dictatorship, if we start having wars around, let's say, we started with Venezuela, he can start, producing a private armies. He can start having people. He can start actually influencing like geopolitical powers around the world like he wasn't been able before, and kind of trying to do what Putin has been doing, which Elon, they all seem to be envious of how Putin runs his country like a mafia state. Trump seems to be infatuated with that lifestyle. Elon Musk seems to be on the same page, on the same level. But listen, Russia still hates you. At the end of the day, they're still gonna try to destroy you. Don't try to be friends with Russia. We keep telling you again and again, you're gonna have to pay for that. Russians will make you pay. They never forgive you attempts to love Russia.
I think that's a good note to start wrapping up on. Um, let's talk. I know SSW has been waiting for this about Malanka. So Malanka is a Ukrainian folk New Year where people dress up as goats and bears and devils and like fools, and they go from house to house, kind of like trick or treating, but so much cooler because they're dressed up in like traditional folk characters. And yeah, it's kind of a ritual of turning chaos into luck and winter into hope and the old year into a good story. It's all about kind of being wild and joyful and mischief. It has like so much ancient magic, and it is celebrated on January 13th to 14th. And um, yeah, let me know if you want to know more. Johnny,
Did
do you have
you
anything
did you,
to add
yeah?
to it? Oh, by
Did
the
you
way, it's like
participate
half
as a child?
Christian. It's like half part Christian, part pagan. But a lot of
Yeah.
this is very, very ritualistic and pagan. And I think Ukraine is one of the only um, cultures that kind of kept the pagan even during Christianity. Because I remember even like my mom teaching me, like, even though I'm Christian, I'm Orthodox, but there's always these like um kind of traditions, which is like kind of like spells that you do, and like, put like something under your pillow and like make a wish, but like and there's so many like Slavic rituals. um but it's part of the culture. Like I knew a bunch of these like uh
So for Ukrainians, it's like a little version of Halloween for us. So children, mostly boys, they go from house to house, and what's kind of like interesting, they have these grains of wheat in hand. Did you do this? I,
that's
I did this
diduch.
as a
that
child.
that's diduch, by the
Did you?
way.
Yeah.
that's
So
that's
you
that's
have
diduch, and that's like a spirit thing. It's like a means like a granddad, and it's like a wheat, right? Like a wheat but
well,
bunch.
you have like no, you make like a image of like a deduk, right? But this is, you just have like grains of wheat, and you just throw it at people's feet, and this is for like good luck, and you sing these traditional songs. So we were doing this like me and my friends, we would just go from house to house, because as you go, people will give you like treats, like candy. This is like easy way to get candy, or like sometimes if they don't have candy, they can give you some money or whatever. And I would do it, like I did it like 1 year. I was like really into it. I was like so involved. I was hungry for candy or something. I don't know. But me and my friends, we went from house to house, and I went to my neighbor, and we did this to him, and it's supposed to bring like really really good luck. And my neighbor, he had like a really lucky year. Like he built a house, he bought a new car, like his wife gave birth or something, I don't know. So he would call my mom every year after that, and he's like, is Johnny gonna be doing the Shedri Večer celebration, Malanka, this year? Can he come to my house? And he would pay me money to come out. I was already going to university studying for chemistry, and he would call and say, "Hey, listen, make sure Johnny stops by my house." And I'm like, "I'm not doing this. I'm not a kid anymore." He said, "No, I pay you extra. Just come and stop by my house." So yeah, that's what's happening in Ukraine.
Here's some images. It's very vibrant. It's By the way, this is one of the celebrations that was banned by USSR. I totally think that this specifically, and I'm very angry about it, this was robbed. My culture was robbed from me because I didn't grow up with this at all.
Yeah,
I
it's
only
been
like,
destroyed.
yeah,
Like people would go to jail for practicing this.
yeah. I mean, I didn't grow up in Soviet Union. I was born like 1 year into Soviet Union, but uh, after Soviet Union, by the way, happy Soviet Union breakup day. That was yesterday.
Oh, really?
Great day.
What date
Yeah,
was
yeah.
today? 26th? Is that when it
It was
broke up?
Yeah, yep, it was yesterday.
Good
I
riddance.
did a whole post. But
Russians were probably crying their eyes out. They miss Soviet Union so much.
yeah, and they missed their empire. But yeah, look how vibrant this is.
Mm.
Yeah, but I when I like growing up, like even after Soviet Union broke up, it's not like Ukraine came back to like these traditions all of a sudden. No, we still kind of celebrated, Christmas on 6th and 7th. And but these traditions, I think within years, started to come back. And uh, I think Ukrainians are doing fantastic job at bringing these traditions back to life. And even Ukrainians here um, in the West, trying to keep these traditions alive. Huge shout out to Ukrainian, uh, the Canadian Ukrainian community. Those guys, when they left before Soviet Union, so they had a chance to do that because in Canada, the very first immigrants to Canada were Ukrainians to show Canadians how to work the fields and the wheat. So that kind of generation got out of the Soviet Union, and they were able to keep these like traditions because there was no Soviet Union in Canada. So it's really like cool and like vibrant what they do. It's like I think in like Saskatchewan, Alberta, like all the kind of middle Canada, where like they have like really huge and absolutely insane Ukrainian culture. And but those guys,
Big
they're like
communities.
how many generations in? Like five
Well,
generations in
there was a
of
few
Ukrainian.
waves of immigration. There was one in the
Yeah.
50s. There was one even before in the Russian Empire times. But yeah, and Canadians, they love Ukrainians. They're huge supporters of Ukraine today. And we love Canadians as well.
Yeah. And Zelensky is in Canada right now, making a stop before heading over to hell. But wish him luck. I don't know. We might be surprised. Maybe Zelensky has a couple of cards to play. We'll see. Um, Hopefully Trump is in good spirits and his holiday spirits. I mean, after all, he's getting. Well, should I bring up? Yeah, I guess the Epstein files that are there's gonna be more dropping. So Trump needs anything to distract the nation. So Zelensky, I guess, is a that good distraction. We'll see.
How are we doing on time? Do you want me to do the one of the news?
Oh, you want to do one more?
Yeah, I can. Well, Russia lost its like the newest, the most like advanced ship called the Hunter. It's a submarine, anti-submarine ship destroyer. It was the newest thing. I remember when they unveiled it, like in 2020 or something. Like it's like super new. It's very expensive, and Ukraine got rid of it for Russia. They only had one of these ships, and right now it's at the bottom of Novorossiysk base over there, very close to where that submarine was downed a couple of weeks ago. So I think that's a very nice news, very nice bit of news over here. Good job, Ukraine.
Absolutely. Um, Guys, happy holidays. Merry Christmas. I hope you're having great great time. Hope it's peaceful and stuff. This is I always like kind of call this time between Christmas and New Year's the kind of the void where it's just like you don't know what the hell is happening. But yeah, it seems like 2026 is going to be a speedy year. A lot of things will be happening a lot faster. This year, 2025, was a lot of internal shit happening and a lot of kind of slowness, I guess. But it was all like internal. It was heavy, super heavy. But at the same time, as a society, as people, we needed to go through this to get us prepared for what's ahead for 2026. So we're strong. Thank you so much to everyone who comes out and supports the live streams, the videos, all your clicks. You guys are absolutely awesome. So Ukraine is ending another year in darkness, literally and emotionally. And yet somehow the country keeps finding ways to stand, to rebuild, and to fight back. That strength doesn't come from speeches or headlines. It comes from people who refuse to disappear. So, to everyone watching, supporting, donating, showing up, you are part of that. You're part of the reason Ukraine keeps defending us from Russian terror. Thank you so much to channel moderators and on channel Yarochenko. You guys are rock stars, you know that. Thank you to everyone who sent a super chat today and earlier. Everyone who became a member, welcome. And everyone who keeps this channel alive, thank you for all your support. We appreciate you, and please keep supporting Ukrainian defenders, the ones on the front lines, the ones in the sky, the ones in the trenches, the ones who won't make it home tonight. They're the reason we get to sit here and talk about the future where Ukraine wins and Russia loses. They're the reason this war hasn't swallowed the country whole, and the reason Europe gets to sleep at night. But Ukrainian defenders can't protect you from Russia's escalating hybrid war in Europe and the United States. That part, we have to fight ourselves. So the question is Ukraine is fighting. Will we? So if you took anything from tonight's show, let it be this: Ukraine is still here. Ukraine is still fighting, and Ukraine is still choosing hope, even when the world gives it every reason not to. Thank you for spending your evening with us. Let's be brave like Ukraine. I'm Slavie. This is Johnny. This was Ukraine Update slash SlavaCast. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2026 next time. God bless America and Slava Ukraine.
Heroям слава.
Bye, guys. Did you end stream?